Welcome back into the Victory Road League Week 5 matchup between the Portland Treeckos and the San Diego Drampas. Portland coming in with a 1-2 record. They've fallen short after their bye week and coming in with a total of 14 points. And of course, we have at this current moment the league leading San Diego Drampas with 47 points through 4 weeks, and sitting at a undefeated 4-0 record. The only other undefeated team in the Victory Road League is our New York Crooks. But we're here, San Diego, bringing in Drampa, Sylveon, Sinistcha, Farigiraf, Anacrid, and didn't get to read that last Pokemon. We were underway. These trainers are ready to go, and we are underway for our final match here in Week 5. It's going to be Excadrill and Samurott. We will have Farigiraf and Sylveon. So Farigiraf and Sylveon for the San Diego side of things. Hisuian, Samurott, and Excadrill for the Portland side of things. Portland looking to bounce back, even with trying to get at least a couple points. They were able to pick up 4 points last week. Of course, the week before that, in week 3, they picked up 0 points, so it was a little bit of an improvement, but you want to see if you can try to maybe possibly pull off the upset. And Excadrill coming in with a Stealth Rocks. Samurott going in with a Ceaseless Edge onto the Farigiraf. It is good. It is a one-hit KO, and Portland coming in strong, getting rid of that Farigiraf right away, and then more spikes will be scattered down. Hyper Voice coming out, and it's a one-hit KO for San Diego, knocking out the Samurott. So pretty evenly out, getting some things set up right here, right away. Of course, we have double spikes on the ground for when San Diego decides to send in their next Pokemon. So bold move, a willing sacrifice. You're willing to drop that point there if you are Portland to get rid of that Farigiraf. Portland gonna send out the Mouse Hold, and San Diego with their Chimecho. Those stones, of course, going to go ahead and poke that Chimecho just a little bit, dropping it down to 87%. Of course, we know this Chimecho to be a Mega Evolving Chimecho. What does Portland decide to do here? You got a good pick off. Of course, this Excadrill that is on the field can Mega Evolve. If it does choose to do so, of course, can compete with this Sylveon. Of course, Excadrill having that steel typing, which is critical here. Mousehold doing a follow me, so it becomes the center of attention for these two Pokemon on here. Excadrill going for the Iron Head onto the Sylveon, and it is a one-hit KO. So Portland taking out one of San Diego's Mons here. Early Psychic going for the Mousehold. So a big, bold decision. So San Diego down to its last two Pokemon, being this Chimecho, and whatever they decide to bring out. So some good early picks for the Portland Treeckos. And the Sinistcha is going to come out. It's going to dig some stones, but we'll heal up this Chimecho back to full health. Of course, Excadrill and Mousehold at 64% of its health and 56% of its health, respectively. Have to think, what does Portland do? This momentum swinging full on their side, trying to pick up their first win since week 1 of the season. The Chimecho going to be Mega Evolving here. So as predicted, the Chimecho is going to Mega Evolve. Finally. Mousehold is going to go for a protect here. Excadrill going for a drill run onto the Chimecho, drops it down to 17% of its health. The Sinistra going for a Matcha Gotcha on this Excadrill, and this Mousehold won't hit the Mousehold, however. Will hit this Excadrill, leaving it down to 37%. Will heal itself back up. Chimecho going for a Psychic onto the Mousehold, but it won't hit due to that protection. What does San Diego decide to do here? You have your Mega Chimecho down to 17%. The Sinistra down, or Sinistra still pretty holding up strong. Portland still has, one other Mon left in its backside for the bench. Mousehold going for a Super Fang will drop the Chimecho down to 80%. Excadrill going for an Iron Head onto the Sinistra, dropping it down to 48%, making it activate its Citrus Berry. Sinistra going for another Matcha Gotcha, gets the Excadrill down to 7% and the Mousehold down to 19%. So it'll be back to 100% of its health now. Mega Chimecho going for a Psychic is good enough to knock out that Mousehold. Incoming a Lucario. So we know this Lucario to be a Mega Evolver, so it has to be quick. Gotta question Portland's decision not to go for that drill run like it did against the Chimecho the turn before. You could have gotten this Chimecho out of the way. But we are all knotted up at 2 Pokemon apiece. What do these two teams decide to do? Lucario going in for the Mega Evolution. And it's going to use Bullet Punch onto this Sinistra, dropping it down to 74%. Excadrill going for a drill run will knock out this Chimecho, which was probably the biggest threat on the field due to this Lucario being out. And Portland down to just getting this Sinistra dealt with. But the Excadrill will go down. We are knotted up at 3 points apiece, and it gets the burn on the Lucario. So it'll heal up 83%, back to 83% of its health, knocking out that Excadrill, and up to 87% from what damage it took from the Lucario. Lucario will be docked now to 71% due to that burn. All that stands between either Portland or San Diego taking this first match is 1 Pokemon apiece. Another Bullet Punch coming in. Matcha Gotcha once again dropping Lucario down to 42%. Plus that burn is still up. Will get Sinistra up to 85%. So if you are Portland, what do you do here? You're so close to taking that first match and putting full momentum on your side. Lucario going for a Swords Dance, an interesting decision here with an attack boost. Sinistra going for another Matcha Gotcha. Gonna drop Lucario down to 8%. And it's possible that this burn is probably going to take out Lucario. It doesn't. It's down to 2%. So this is for all the marbles here. A lucky burn possibly is what's saving San Diego from going down 0-1 in this matchup. A Bullet Punch coming out onto the Sinistra is not going to be enough. The Matcha Gotcha is there, and that is it. San Diego will take match 1 between Portland and San Diego. Welcome back into our matchup for Week 5 between the Portland Treeckos and the San Diego Drampas. A thrilling first match. Portland getting close but wasn't able to deal with the Sinistra that San Diego decided to bring. It came down to a 1v1. But luckily San Diego was able to pull it off. Both teams and both trainers taking their time deciding on what to bring here. But we are underway for round 2 of our best of 3. It will be that Excadrill Samurott duo. And we'll have Drampa and Farigiraf this time around for San Diego. Of course, the Samurott was able to handle this Farigiraf very quickly in that first match. Can they do it again? Was a big help as to why they San Diego wasn't able to get set up like they usually have here in weeks past. They're going to withdraw their Farigiraf and bring out their Sylveon. So probably predicting that Ceaseless Edge. Drampa going for the Mega Evolution here right away. Stealth Rocks will be coming out from the Excadrill's end, so setting themselves up. Like predicted, that Ceaseless Edge coming out onto the Sylveon still does decent damage. 63% of its health remains. Plus you have spikes now, so stones and spikes. Earth Power coming out from the Drampa onto the Excadrill. The Excadrill is going to hold on with 3% of its health here. What do these trainers decide to do is the question. Quick attack coming out onto the Excadrill, so a first point goes to San Diego. Samurott going for a Sacred Sword onto the Mega Drampa. Very effective, but it's going to raise that Drampa's special attack. Going for a Thunder, but the Samurai is going to avoid the attack. A lucky play there for that Samurott. Otherwise, I believe it would have been gone. They're going to send out Skeledirge. An interesting Pokemon that you do not see too often here in the Victory Road League, and usually not played in Champions as much as most Pokemon. So an interesting decision for Portland to bring that here in the second round. Sucker Punch coming out, and it's good enough to knock out this Mega Drampa, so another point will go to the Portland Treeckos. Skeledirge putting a Shadow Ball onto the Sylveon. Will get it down to 36% and a -1 on that special defense, and the Samurott will be knocked out for San Diego, so another point to them here early on. How does Portland bounce back from this? Both teams pretty much knotted up 1-1. Very interesting decisions to be made by both of these teams here. Portland trying to at least get this to a 3-game set for that exclusive third match. We've had 3 of them here in week 5. Seattle and New York went 3 matches. Hawaii and San Jose went 3 matches. And of course, Toronto and Denver went 3 matches. Mousehold will be sent out. And Sinistcha will be brought out. So those stones and spikes will hit that Sinistcha, leaving it down to 75%, but that hospitality ability will put Sylveon back up to 61%. What do these trainers decide to do is the question. Of course, San Diego trying to keep that undefeated record. They're going to withdraw that Sinistcha, resend out the Farigiraf. The stones and the spikes will come in, dropping Ferrograph down to 75%. A super fan coming out onto the Sylveon. Skeledirge going for a Sylveon is not going to affect the Ferrograph due to that normal typing. And a Hyper Beam coming out from the Sylveon. It is a one-hit KO. So all that is standing between San Diego and a 5-0 start is this Skeledirge. Can Portland survive and get through this matchup here is the question. Skeledirge going for a Torch Song onto the Sylveon. It'll knock it down to 2%, so the special attack will rise. Sylveon has to recharge. Twin Beam coming out from this Ferrograph will knock Skeledirge down to below half health at 48%. Can Portland at least pick up a couple more points if they ultimately lose here is the question at hand. And can they even get this to a 3-game match? It's a long, hard task to be asked of Portland, but definitely doable. I've seen some crazier things happen. Skeledirge deciding to go for a Will-O-Wisp onto the Sylveon instead of the Ferrograph, which is an interesting choice indeed. Twin Beam coming back out for the Ferrograph. It's going to hit once, it's going to hit twice, and knock Skeledirge down to 17% of its health. And the Hyper Beam is going to come out. It is going to knock out this Skeledirge. So San Diego keeps its 5-0 undefeated start. And they are walking away winners here. Portland gave a good battle. They'll pick up 4 points, and San Diego will walk away with 10, keeping their lead on the league.